Welcome back. It's time now for Media Watch France. For that, I'm joined by James Creedon. Hello, James.
Good evening, Tom.
Now, the image of the day was really the outgoing president, Nicolas Sarkozy, here in France, standing side by side with the new man in the top job, François Hollande.
That's right. A fine pair they made as well. They're sort of more or less the same height, although maybe there was some help with heels, I don't really know. But in any case, there they are, standing side by side. And it's an image which has been picked up across all of the media. I looked at it this morning, and it was indeed across all of the major news channels and indeed just the terrestrial networks. People commenting every single little detail down to the colour of Nicolas Sarkozy's tie, the formal black, with François Hollande wearing a blue tie to distinguish himself, to, I suppose, let the public know that he's not yet president, as if they didn't know. But in any case, that, and people also commenting that they appear the same height, that Nicolas Sarkozy has got a lot of, he's been mocked considerably for being a little bit short, and actually in this image he seems exactly the same height as François Hollande. So that was one comment amongst the many other comments of, analysing micro details that came out today. Now, despite that image of great friendship, across those various snaps, you still see a lot of this on social media. François Hollande waving Nicolas Sarkozy goodbye into retirement. So I suppose people aren't necessarily fooled by that show of solidarity today for VE Day. People know that behind it all, they're still political rivals, and that a lot of pleasure in the socialist camp at seeing Mr. Sarkozy being bid farewell.
All right. Well, a rather interesting story here of a case of mistaken identity, at least in the case of MSNBC, who seems to think Nicolas Sarkozy is someone who's other than he is.
That's right, that he's another profession. It caused a lot of chuckles across the pond yesterday, and it continues to do so here. Let's roll those pictures, MSNBC yesterday, what they thought of Nicolas Sarkozy.
Neck. New battleground polling showing that it's going to be a nail-biter of a race. With 6 months, voters give French President Sarkozy the boot. How does it impact our economy here? Well, voters give French President Sarkozy the boot. How does it impact our economy here? Well,
right, prostitute speaks. He's not a prostitute. France 24 confirmation: Nicolas Sarkozy is not a prostitute. They got it wrong. It was the following subsequent story about a scandal involving the Secret Service in the US down in Colombia. And look, I'll just show you. I think we saw it there, but just to show you again on the computer, their correction was also wrong. They said, instead of au revoir austerity, they said au revoir. They misspelt au revoir. So big MSNBC Santé or strap fail. But I suppose, we shouldn't be pointing fingers, because it could happen to any news network, although I don't think we've ever called a head of state a prostitute.
Yes, I think but it is an easy mistake to make. Slip of the mouse or
That's it. Watch out, Ruth Hetherington in the...
All right, now there is a village here in France that rather overwhelmingly seems to back Nicolas Sarkozy.
That's right. Let's take a look at this. This is an article in Rue 4 talking about that and other curiosities from the second round of the election. Now, this particular town is called Canteleu, and let's take a look at how they voted. Not 98%, not 99%, but 100% for Nicolas Sarkozy, 0% for François Hollande. And that is the town of Canteleu in the north of France. A rather sleepy-looking little place, because there were actually only 12 people who voted. So that might explain why they all went the same direction. Maybe they have little chats in the village square and kind of come to an agreement about how they're going to vote. One person abstained from voting as well. I think, anyway, that's enough about Canteleu. We don't really need to know anymore. But other curiosities, they're talking about, for example, expats in Israel, or people who have French nationality in Israel, voted massively for Nicolas Sarkozy at 92.8%, whereas in Ramallah, in the Palestinian territories, it was 82.6% for François Hollande. So I suppose another example of Israelis and Palestinians not agreeing on everything.
Indeed not. I think in that small village, you must sympathise with the people for feeling a bit of peer pressure with regard to which candidate to back.
They could be bullied if they went for the wrong person.
Yes, well, or worse. Now, we're going to end with something of a tribute to Mr. Hollande, and it's rather a musical one, if
that's right.
my script is correct.
I'll quickly show the front pages as well of a couple of the news magazines, not very imaginatively headlining Le Président, the president for François Hollande. The same for Le Point. They kind of obviously weren't really looking at what their rivals in L'Express were putting up. Le Président and, of course, Le Nouvel Observateur, enfin, meaning at last. And indeed, tributes in music as well. I just wanted to play this, as you mentioned. This is a gypsy group from Forbach. Now, I suppose travelling communities were somewhat stigmatized at moments. At least that is the accusation that is made of the political right in France, in particular after the speech that Nicolas Sarkozy made in Grenoble. And he regretted that afterwards. He said he shouldn't have necessarily singled out the Roma community in a speech on security. So let's take a look at this particular piece of music, which is congratulating François Hollande, and it's from the Manouche gypsy community of Forbach.
L'avenir, Monsieur le Président, c'est aussi avec nous.
And that little boy comes back at the end to say, Vive la France! So clearly they're pretty pleased to see François Hollande in power. So those are the kind of videos we're seeing online, people celebrating if they're a fan of Hollande, and I suppose not if they're, if they're a fan of Nicolas Sarkozy.
I was going to say perhaps we'll see that group of musicians at official functions in the future.
Maybe so, they're pretty talented.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thanks, Tom.
James Green, that was Media Watch. Well, it's time now for a check of what's getting people clicking, blogging and sharing online. That's in our daily date with cyberspace, web news, which starts right now.